whether you're consciously aware of it in the moment or not, you bring certain assumptions with you as you engage with those that you know well and you're trying to develop a relationship with. For example, I'm hoping that the people that you find a good sense of camaraderie with, I'm hoping that you think of them as being somebody that has equality with you or worth, or they have something good to say and they have positive skills that you can build upon. Those would be some of the assumptions that you have, and those assumptions can give you a sense of optimism as you enter into the ongoing relationship with that person. Well, narcissists have their beginning assumptions as well, except they're not terribly optimistic in what they assume about you. Now, let's keep in mind that it starts with what they believe about themselves. They're enamored with themselves. They're almost drunk with their own sense of self-importance and their uniqueness and specialness. And as a result, they have to be in control. They don't feel the need to take much input from you. They can be very defensive. They can have an attitude of entitlement, and they can be manipulative. And all of this sets up a manner of thought that they continue with as they interact with you that ultimately will bring the relationship down. And one of the things that I want you to be aware of as you engage with that narcissist is I want you to be aware of 8 very common assumptions that are wrong that the narcissist might make about you. And as you're able to see this and understand that this is part of their beginning point of departure in the way that they interact with you, then you can make a certain kind of adjustments from the inside out so that you don't get pulled into a lower position or a place of ongoing angst. So let me see if I can run through these 8 wrong assumptions that a narcissist can lead with as they interact with you. Now, the first wrong assumption a narcissist can make about you is you need to be told what to do. See, they begin with the assumption that you have a built-in incompetence. It's like there's something about you that has a real big blunder switch to it. If I just leave you to your own devices, you're going to just make mistakes and you're going to miscalculate. And so I can't afford to do that. So I just need to tell you what to do. That's how they operate. That's how they think. And you can see that this leads to a lot of critical thinking and a lot of bossiness, kind of the know-it-all attitude. And you're over there wondering, well, why do you have to treat me this way? Well, it's not about you. It's about how they think. That's a beginning thought that they will interact with you with. Or a second wrong assumption that the narcissist might make about you is your worth or your value is contingent upon your willingness to conform. Keep in mind that they think that they have a pretty good corner of the market on all truth and correctness. And so what they think is, well, when you're in my presence, we can just let you be you and you can kind of go do your thing. I don't know that that's going to work out very well. And so you have worth to me when you show your willingness to conform to me. And so they can punish you, they can scold you, they can shame you when you don't really conform to their notions because they need you as being their narcissistic supply as long as they can get you to say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, you're the one that does all the right things, you're the one who makes up all the rules, and you have all wisdom and all knowledge. Then it's like, yeah, you're worth something to me. I like hanging out with you. But if you don't comply, if you don't conform, then you have no worth in their economy. Or a third wrong assumption a narcissist makes, and that is you exist to satisfy the narcissist's biddings. In other words, your purpose in life is to live for them and to take care of their needs. Narcissists can have 2 favorite questions. First one is, what have you done for me lately? And the second question is, what are you going to do for me next? It's like they don't have any sense of that real interactive nature. It's like, well, as long as you see me as being the one that's in charge and the one who needs to have his or her needs met, then we're going to get along just fine. Just do my bidding. And they don't have much of a sense of servitude. And even if they do something that might seem helpful, there's a hook on the backside of it so that you'll finally do what they want you to do. They don't really see themselves as being interactive in a sense that you scratch my back and I scratch your back. You scratch my back, that's enough. And so you exist to do their bidding as far as they're concerned. A fourth assumption, a wrong assumption that a narcissist can make, and that is you'll never rise higher than second place. Now, first, let's keep in mind they do think in terms of hierarchy. Who's at the top of the stack here? Who's the one that's the highest ranked? And they of course they want to be ranked number one. And so whenever you have skills, or when you ever have knowledge or insights or awareness, it's like, well, you can have that as long as you do it subordinate to me. So they want to make sure that you see them as being in first place and you're a distant second. And so relationships to them are not about an interactive exchange of thoughts and feelings and ideas and preferences and experiences. Relationships to a narcissist are all about posturing. And you need to make sure that you understand where in that posturing, henpecking kind of order that they have, you know that they're always going to have to come out in first place, and you might get second place. Chances are you won't even get that high. They don't want to bond with you. They don't want to be vulnerable. They want to be at the top of the pecking order. A fifth wrong assumption a narcissist can make, and this is a big if the narcissist appears to be wrong, and sometimes they may have made some blunders or mistakes or miscalculations that are so glaringly obvious that you just can't deny them in the moment, but if they appear to be wrong for any reason, it's your fault. Now, short term, like I say, they may say something like, well, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or sorry. But over time, they really don't like being in that kind of vulnerable position, because it makes them feel like, oh no, I'm losing my grip on first place. And so they can do plenty of revisionist history. For example, if they lost their temper, and I mean, it came out really bad and ugly, or if they treated someone in a really rude way, later on, they may come back and say, well, that would never have happened had you not done such and such. And so they'll pin the fault on you. So whatever they do wrong, it's not really me that did wrong. It was the circumstance that brought it out of me. And you people out there who made my circumstances also bad, y'all are the ones that need to take responsibility, not me. Now, this leads to a sixth, very a common kind of thing that goes right on the heels of number 5, and that is when the narcissist is angry. Then it becomes your duty to change so that the anger will subside. Now, there are times, of course, when anger can have a healthy component. You know, let's say you and I have a conflict between the two of us, and I'm frustrated or I'm annoyed. Well, in my anger, I can come at you with a healthy, constructive assertiveness and say, here's what's going on, and this is what I'd like for us to discuss. Let's see if we can have a meeting of the minds. Narcissists don't do anger like that. Their anger is either going to be of the silent, punishing type or manipulative type like that, or more often than not, it's more of the open rage and blaming and shaming and accusing kind of a style of communication. And then for them to get out of their angry mode, it's like you have to go back to that conformity. You have to just get your act together, and then I can stop feeling angry. And so if you try to call them out on it, they go back to, well, none of this anger would have happened had you not done the wrong thing. And then a seventh wrong assumption a narcissist can make, and that is what you feel is irrelevant. What you perceive is irrelevant. What you desire is irrelevant. What you interpret is irrelevant. You are irrelevant. In their mind, the only person that's relevant is themselves. And so anything that you want from the relationship that may seem reasonable to you, if it doesn't fit inside their paradigm, they just roll their eyes and say, I don't know where you're coming up with that. You just don't think right. And whatever you come up with, it's probably on the wrong page. So go away, quit it, leave me alone. And then an eighth wrong assumption that a narcissist can make about you, and that is when others think highly of you, you're not deserving. You know, it's very difficult for the narcissist to regale with you. If something good happens to you, or someone says, hey, I really like the way you handle this, or you get a reward or something, or some sort of positive recognition, first of all, they're thinking, I'm the one that's supposed to be getting that. And then second, they may say something to you like, well, if those people only knew you the way I know you, or the compliments that you're receiving really should be given to me. They cannot let you be given a place of favored treatment because the envy just won't allow them to do so. Now, frankly, there are plenty of other wrong assumptions that we could add to this list, but I think you get the idea that because the narcissist has such a twisted way of having to do life where they must come out on top and they're totally enamored with themselves, it sets them up to have a complete lack of objectivity, not only about who they are, but about who you are. So a couple of thoughts here as we close. First, I'm wondering if you can just decide in your mind or ask yourself, can I just let that narcissistic person be wrong? Too many times I know you fall into the trap of trying to justify yourself or explain or plead or beg your case and all of that, and it doesn't do you a bit of good. How about if you just kind of take the notion that says, I don't need to justify myself to this person. They will make wrong assumptions, and maybe it's just not my job to make them see the light. They just get to be wrong. Which then leads to another final thought, and that is, how about if you decide within yourself, within me, I'm going to allow my own self to have my opinions, my interpretations, my preferences, and I have the total freedom to just be whatever I want to be. When the narcissist gives or operates on the assumption, well, you're not supposed to have your own opinions, okay, you can assume that, but I still allow me to be me. The narcissist is constantly operating off of the wrong foot, so to speak. And they don't come at you from a place of good information and good awareness and good insight. And so it's just not a shocker that they're not going to be able to engage with you in a way that brings out the best in both of you. So you kind of have to learn to mentally and emotionally separate yourself off from that. Let them have their assumptions, and then you get to decide, even though they have these particular thoughts, I give me permission to think differently. I'm hoping you can go to that place, and frankly, go to that place pretty strongly. I do hope you find value in videos such as this. You'll notice beneath this video, we have the subscribe button. If you've not already done so, I would invite you to hit that button so we can keep you apprised of more videos that come along. Also beneath the video, we have an email list, and you subscribe to that, and it'll give you availability to actually more bonus videos and articles and promotions that we'll have. Also, if you are in need of some online counseling, we have a service that's beneath there, a link for that you could avail yourself to. Some of you don't have access to counselors nearby, and so we'd like to help you in that regard. Also, I have my books and online workshops that you can make yourself available to, and we even have some coffee mugs. How about that? So we do want you to be able to take whatever good that you can have from the resources that we've got for you. All of that having been said, I really appreciate you allowing me to be on your journey with you, and I will see you next time.